Because remember, the main reason that you practice scales and practice patterns is so that your ear is trained to hear the next 2-5-1 that you have. Sometimes people don't understand why you should learn it. It's because of these things right here. Hi, my name is Spearman, and it seems like you guys really like the how to play on Take the A Train. So today we're going to be talking about Autumn Leaves. Before we get into it, I would really love if you could just put down a like, and if you don't like the video at the end, change it to a dislike, or let me know in the comments below what it could have been different. With that, let's get into the licks. Those last two licks were over the quick 5-2-5-1s, and the first two were over the minor chords that we're going to be dealing with. So let's just play the tune. What's the story of the tune? Basically, what's the form? It's an AABC tune. So the last chorus of the song, it's a little different, even though it sounds similar in melody. Okay, so this first A section, again, I always like to harness on the A sections because that is a lot of the tune. And this tune is a little different in particular, and we're going to talk first about the chord centers of each part of the A section. So this first four measures of the A section is basically C major. And again, I'm going to be talking in my trumpet terms, which is B flat, not in concert term. So first of all, the tune is in A minor overall. The second thing is this, for when we're talking about the A section, it goes between two centers. The first center right here is C major. The second center right here is A minor. That's going to be important when you're thinking about what tunes you want to, what notes you want to land on. So the first thing we're looking at here is this 2-5-1 into C major. We can think of several different things when we're thinking of a nice 2-5-1, a long 2-5-1 for that matter. And so the first thing I always like to think of is G Bebop scale. So let me play it. So what I'm doing there is I'm playing over the bebop, the dominant bebop scale, which is this. A lot of people do this. The reason people put that, they put the dominant 7 in there with the major 7 is because it makes the chord even. So it gives it 8 notes, and so you can kind of play it in rhythm. Let me play a little bit of it with that D minor, G7, C major 7. Ready? I'm going to add the F7 so it doesn't seem so disjointed. So as you can see, adding that F sharp as a passing tone allows you to get that rhythmic feel when you're playing. I notice a lot of times when I'm trying to practice, scales, if it doesn't align when I'm like playing, it makes me not want to practice the scale. So that's why I like to add that, and I recommend other people to do that, so you can actually have the licks and things you're hearing. Because remember, the main reason that you practice scales and practice patterns is so that your ear is trained to hear it when you hear the next 2-5-1 that you have. So that's why it's so important to play things in all 12 keys. So let's talk about the first lick. Okay. I'm playing that over the D minor 7. Watch this. So you probably got the idea, right? So what I do, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can start on the 1, and it's gonna sound a little weird because you're kind of starting on the 9 when you're playing a minor chord. It's not really what you would want to do, but you can do it, and it's not gonna sound bad because it's such a good line that it's gonna sound fine. It's gonna sound like a passing note. Or you could start it on the 4 of the chord right before you get to the D minor. So any minor chord. So let's try the A minor. Let's talk about the numbers of the chord, right? So if we're leading to D minor, if we're moving to the D minor, we're thinking E natural, F, C sharp, D, bo ba da. You're just enclosing the D. So E, F, C sharp, E, D, E, F, C sharp, E, D. I'll play it slow so you can hear it. Same thing for A minor. Okay, so what did I do there? Again, I went E, F, C sharp, E, D, and then I went up the chord, D, F, A, C, right? And then I went to the 3rd of the G7. So do da do da do da do da do. That is another enclosure for the 3rd. We talked about enclosures in the last video, but when you're going towards the 3rd of a dominant chord, you can't do this. It won't sound right. So instead of doing that, you're going to do this instead. Let's dissect it, right? So what did I do? A, C, A, B flat, B. A, C, A, B flat, B. A, C, A. I can't really sing it that quickly, but so when you're doing A, C, A, B flat, B, it's another type of enclosure. It's the rule of the 3rd, right? The way to remember it is by thinking of the chord that you're going to, a dominant G7, right? So what we're doing right now is we're going to do A, which is the 9, C, 11, A, 9, 11, 9, flat 3, 3. I don't know if that's the easiest way to think it. I just like practice it over and over, but 2, 4, 2, 2 4 2 flat 3 3. It's hard to say. Okay, so that's what I would practice over it. I would practice that for all my chords if I were you, because I think that's going to be important. So that's what I did for this going into G7. And then here you can go pivot. There, all I'm doing is pivoting down to what I would arpeggiate up. Does that make sense? I pivot down what I would arpeggiate up. What do I mean by that? I'm going to show you the arpeggiated version, and then I'm going to go show you the pivoted version. Let's try it. That was the arpeggiated version where I went B, D, F, A, just arpeggiated up the G7 chord. Now I'm going to pivot. Does that make sense? So I pivoted down to D natural and then went up the chord. So let's try it. I'm going to try both of them and so you can compare it. So this is a nice way to be able to get yourself to not have to play super high up or super low down. Pivoting is very... I can make a whole video on pivoting, and if you guys are interested in that, I'll definitely let me know down in the comments below. But that's something very important. So we spent some good time on the A section. Let's get into the B section. So this is where it pivots, not pun intended, into A minor. So once you hit this B dominant or B half diminished, you're no longer in C major. And so don't think of it in C major now. Now you're thinking of it in A minor. People in the comments are probably going to point out that A minor is just the relative minor of C major. Yes, but it's A minor 6. So that F sharp is going to be important. It's going to be important when you're playing this tune because it's going to show that you know the tune. Especially if you listen to Miles Davis's record on this. I mean, they're playing the F sharp. They're going to accentuate it. So it's something you need to think about. So for this D half diminished, let's play the chord. So for half diminished, it's basically minor 7, flat 5. Okay? These are the things you have to remember. Minor, it's a minor scale with a flat 5. Now, I'm not sure if this is that important, but I wouldn't really play the C sharp. It doesn't really sound right to me when I'm playing this song. So because there's no C sharp in a B minor chord, I would actually just do C natural instead. So this is the chord I'd play over this tune, not necessarily saying that this is B half diminished. Okay? The biggest distinction between here is that we have a B half diminished and it has an A natural. When we get to E7 flat 13, there is no longer the accentuation of an A natural. We're thinking of G sharp because that's the third of the E7 and it's going to be very, very important to make sure we do that. And we have B flat, which is the flat 13 of the E7. Okay? So right here we're changing our chord structure from this. Okay, so does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Then we go to this one, which is the next lick that we talked about. Next lick we talked about. Alone but not forgotten. That is a lick from a very famous standard. Okay, and so that's what we play here. So I'm gonna play the A section now. Let's play it over and over, right? Okay. So, you notice I'm taking some licks from Chet Baker as well, but the overall concept, hopefully you understand. If you want me to go in deeper, please let me know in the comments below, and I will answer every specific question that you have. The cool thing about this tune is that the bridge is just the A section backwards. So, when you're thinking of minor 2/5s, I would recommend thinking of the melodic minor scale, right? And so right here, what melodic minor would I think of? I always go to the dominant for some reason. So So what I'm thinking of let's play over the minor. Let's see if this works. So after you have worked over these two chords, what I'd recommend practicing is going down from the 7 on both of those. It's like this. Or the reason I wouldn't play C sharp over the B half diminished is because in the next chord, E7 flat 13, the flat 13 of E7 is C natural. So it doesn't really make any sense to play it for two reasons. It doesn't make any sense because in the E7 flat 13, there is a C natural, and in A minor, there's no C sharp. So for me, I wouldn't think to ever play C sharp in there. So hopefully that makes sense. So what I'm gonna do now is talk about this A6 chord, all right? And so I was playing the same similar actual enclosure that I was doing for G7, but this time I'm actually going to be just quoting a song. So let's try it. I'm gonna play the whole part of this. play it slow. I don't know why I did that, but so when we're thinking of this chord is just cool to play over. There's nothing really too much to talk about except I like to play over it. I like to do it. Let's think of alternatives. Yeah, I'm a loss of what else you can do with that, but there's all some alternatives you probably could do, and I might make another video about that, but for right now, that's just a lick that I think you guys would like. The cool thing about this tune is that the bridge is the same thing as the A section, but just backwards, so we start with the minor 2-5 and then go into the major. The only thing that's different for the C section is that we have this nice, like, descending chromatic thing going on. So let's play the chords. It doesn't really sound that connected, does it? These are where the other two licks are going to come into play. Let's do it. So let's talk about the first lick. I'm going to talk a little bit. So I'm going to move the mic a little closer, and I'm just going to talk a bit about these two chords. So the first thing about this is that we're really just highlighting the minor chords, because the minor chords sound hip when you're going up them. And if you just play the chord tone of the dominant chord, it sounds so cool. It sounds like you're really connecting it. And if you do that, so let's talk about it. So like A minor, I'm doing G sharp, A, C, E, G, just literally going up 1, 3, 5, 7. Then I land on the F sharp. Then for the G minor, F sharp, G, B flat, D, F. Then I land on the E natural for the F sharp 7, and it just sounds so hip. Then you can do a really cool thing and land to the third of the B half diminished chord, and it's just gonna make you sound like you're really going from, it's gonna make you sound cool because you're going just down chromatically, and so you're highlighting the chord changes, and it's really cool. A lot of people do that. I noticed, like, they like to highlight the chord changes because overall it's pretty, not modal, but it's like, it's fairly simple, so it's like cool to be a little bit hip there because there's a quick 2-5. And so that's what I like to do. I like to go up and practice my upper structure, and then for the other one, I start on the 5th and go down. So I do E, C, A, G, F sharp. Again, landing on the 7th of the G sharp 7, and then I do F, D, B flat, G, E for that G minor 7, and it just sounds cool because you're showing that you know the chord changes, but for the G minor 7, I'm going D, B flat, G, F, E. Okay, and so it's cool because you're highlighting the chords, but it doesn't have to be too much work. And so that's why I think it's so important to like work on the going up and down your chords, all minor, all major, all augmented, even whole tone scales. Like those, if it was like easy to practice it, it'd be a lot easier to like learn tunes, I think, because if you know how to do that, you can kind of get your way around and sound really hip. But it takes some time because sometimes people don't understand why you should learn it. It's because of these things right here. When you have a quick 2-5-1 or a quick 2-5, it's easy to plug and play. And then once you know them on all 12 keys, then you can like substitute, which is really cool. And so that's why it's important. So those are the 2 licks for the end of it. With that, I'm just going to play the tune and we'll call it a day. So thank you guys for all listening. Again, I want to thank each and every one of you. You guys are really a support. I really loved all the encouragement and support. But I absolutely accept the criticism or constructive criticism that you have, and I welcome it all. So please give it to me. All right? With that, let me know if you have any extra questions, and I hope you have an amazing day. you everyone for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day. Let me know if you have questions down in the comments below. I'll see you guys later. And don't forget to subscribe!